Welcome to our podcast. It's Mr. Steal Your Girl, Terrell. And today we're going to talk about should you start a business? And I'm here with my co-host,
Patrice.
Lame Patrice.
Lame? What girls are you stealing?
All types. So we're going to get right into it. I'm not going to bore you with Patrice's stories. And we're going to talk about starting a business. Should you do it? And who should do it? But let's talk about something really quickly.
What?
If you're trying to make extra money, there's two ways you can do it. A side gig or starting a business. And there's some pros and cons of each, but I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about a side gig first. So we know that a side gig, you get paid X amount of dollars for X amount of time. And once you're done and you clock out, you don't have to worry about that place. Not your problem. And that's one of the good things. And if you're like me, I had a side gig at Delta for like 5 years. They paid me crap. Maybe I made an extra $500 a month, but I had free flying benefits. And that's when I was jet setter Terrell, because I was on these jets, first class. So while they weren't paying me well, I was setting these
You're
jets.
flying well.
Yeah, I was living that life. So that's kind of like, do you just want a side gig because you don't have that much time? You get X amount of dollars for X amount of time, or do you want to start a business? And that's what today's podcast is about.
Should you?
So let's get into should you start a business? And there's a lot of variables that go into starting your business. You know, it can first take a lot of time or a little bit of time, and it could cost a little bit of money or a lot of money. And if you're trying to do this legitimately, the first thing you're going to need is an LLC, and that might cost like $200 depending on your state. And you have to file taxes. And guys, life's good. I haven't paid my taxes yet. I've been 2 turns. And I think the due date's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Patrice, you know, that was kind of like my little spiel. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
I mean, you said a lot. So we're going to be focusing on if you should start a business. Having a business or starting a business isn't for everyone. And we are talking about legal side gigs because there are so many different type of side gigs that you could try out. But we are talking about legal side gigs. And having a business isn't for everybody. And we hope to shed some light on whether or not you may want to start a business. It doesn't matter what type of business you want to start. You just need to know if you should. So Terrell has some notes that he's always so studious. Studious Terrell. No, not really.
So first thing we need to talk about when you're starting a side business, are you trying to do it solo or are you looking for a business partner? Is it going to be you and your man or you and your kids? You by yourself? You're trying to take all the money. And there's pros and cons to each of them.
Mm-hmm.
So Patrice has her own solo business. I have nothing going on at the moment, but we're working on a partnership. But first, Patrice, tell us, you know, some of the pros of being solo.
I mean, you don't really have to answer to anybody. Being solo, you know, you pretty much make the decisions. If you're doing it right, you're not really the one making the decisions. You're letting your data, your customers, and everybody kind of influence the decisions that you make. But you don't really have to consult anyone else when it is something that you want to do or, you know, you're planning on doing. So that's one of the benefits. Also, you own everything. Like it's you own everything. So, but you know, owning everything isn't always good because you have to own the good and you have to own the bad. It's kind of easy to share when it's bad with somebody else as opposed to, you know, you taking all that on yourself. Financially, of course, you're not sharing out any of the profits, but also you're putting in all of the investment. So, by the way, I still owe you. Did that thing come that we ordered?
It comes in tomorrow. She stay owing me money.
You owe me money all the time, too.
And then y'all get mad when I go in her purse.
You owe me all the time, too.
But no, continue.
But that's kind of what that's a few benefits of, being solo. Like you pretty much have, free reign to do what it is that you want to do.
So I'm gonna add something. In my younger days, Street Life Terrell was in these streets, started a business with some guys, and they were in and out of jail. And then when they're locked up, I had to pick up the slack. They didn't have the same work ethic. Like I was trying to get the business going and make the legal money. They're over there in the streets. So you have to have somebody who's on the same path as you. Yeah. And that kind of soured me in the past from doing stuff with other people. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it myself. But I think now I realize I probably shouldn't start a business with some thugs.
Yeah. Well, no, not even just thugs. I think you have, because
irresponsible people.
Irresponsible, or like also selfish people. Like you kind of have to know who you're really dealing with. Like it's good to know the person or the corporation. Like do your research, know who you're going to be in business with. Because I had a similar situation where I went in business with a friend, or at least I thought it was a friend, and she was really just trying to steal the business idea away from me. It was my idea. But, we're like, oh, well, I'll do that. We'll do it together. And, it was not a pleasant situation. And once we dissolved everything, I was like, very early on, I knew, like, I'm not doing this. This is not going to, work out. And she ended up, moving forward.
And making a lot of money.
No. Because it was my idea, and that's the thing. Like everybody brings something to the table. You have to value what your partner, if you're gonna do like a partnership, you have to value what it is that they bring to the table. Terrell's good at certain things, and I let him have free reign over that. I'm good at certain things, and he usually doesn't. Sometimes he thinks he can dictate because he really thinks he's a CEO of his own imagination. But for the most part, like I have free reign of what I'm good at, and then we eventually, bring everything together. I think that's what for a successful business, you have to know each other's qualities and traits and, what everybody's good at in order for it to work out.
So our next part was going to be, some of the pros and cons of having a business partner, but we kind of went over it. I would say the con of having a business partner is if they're not walking the same path as you or they don't have the same goal, well, you probably don't want them as a business partner. And if money is, the main motivator, they may not be good. Like me and Patrice, we got our little project going on. I don't really care if we make money. It's something for me to do because I just always need my hands in something. Mm-hmm. And I think Patrice is kind of the same way.
Yeah, I like to be busy. And you want to make sure, like, if your drive is a little less or the other person's drive, like, you just want to, like, be well matched.
Well, I will say this. I definitely do not have Patrice's drive because she be working. I like laying on my couch and doing nothing at times.
It's a difference. You'll know when it's not a good match.
So the next thing we need to talk about when you're starting a business is the time constraints. Starting a business takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of time. You have to think about a lot of different things. So with what me and Patrice are doing, and we have this YouTube, we're starting a little t-shirt company and a couple other things. There's a lot of planning that goes into it. And, I'm constantly shooting her ideas or thinking about things or vice versa. Mm-hmm. So you have to have the time to invest and to work on it. If you're a really busy person and now you're trying to start a business, one of two things is going to happen. Either your job's going to fail or your business is going to fail, or even worse, you fail at both and you end up homeless. Right?
You gotta always be so drastic. Always. But I see what you're saying. You have to be willing to dedicate time to what it is that you want. If it's something that you want to do, you have to be willing to sacrifice time, and it is a sacrifice sometimes. Sometimes I just want to go and just lay on the couch, and sit there and do nothing, but I can't because I have a few goals and I want to meet them.
So the next thing you got to think about, and that's if you want to start your own business, is are you afraid of failure? Because that goes on with a lot of people. They're scared of failure. I can tell you guys, I have no problem failing because I do it all the time. But there's a lot of people like, oh, I don't want to try something because if I fail at it, people are going to make fun of me. People are going to look at me differently. People
talk about me.
Yeah. I know this. So I have a group chat. My friends love talking about my failures in it. But at the end of the day, everybody's used to me failing. Mm-hmm. But you have to have that drive. So I'm going to just throw this in about like this guy I know. He's kept starting businesses, failing. And then he got one and it just hit. And this man's like a multimillionaire. So you can't be afraid of failure because you're not always going to fail. Sometimes it's going to work out.
Yeah. And it depends, like, do you have the time to invest in your business? And Terrell is talking trash. It's not that he fails. Terrell will be successful in a business, and all of a sudden he just doesn't want to do it again. That's why I keep letting you guys know. Eventually, I will be looking for a new co-host and another business partner when Terrell is like, Patrice, I ain't got time for this no more. I'm going to sit on my couch. And he's known for that. So don't let him fool you. It's not that it's a lot of failures. It's just that he gets sick and tired of things very easily and quickly. And so that's what happens. But don't be afraid of failing. That's what stops a lot of people from even moving forward and starting a business. And it could be something that you absolutely love to do, something you've always wanted to do. My mindset is you have only one life. And why not do what you want to do in that life? So if it's something you want to do, go for it. If you fail, guess what? That is a lesson learned. It's not failure. It is a lesson learned so that you can improve.
So Patrice kind of brought up something about me, and that's the next thing we're going to talk about. It when you start a business, you got to be in it for the long haul. And I unfortunately bow out after I get a little bit of success. So I set my goals. If my goal is, let's say, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I get my 1,000 subscribers, I'm good. And then it's on to the next thing.
Yes.
And that's a little bit of a problem. I don't know if you guys are like that. Like, as once you get that gratification, it's on to the next thing.
I'm just letting you know you're not quitting on me. I will fight you. You know that. You know I'm strong.
So, but that's just how I operate. I have little goals. Remember when I was trying to make cornbread?
Yes. And he made cornbread, and he made one thing of cornbread that tasted decent, and he hasn't made any more cornbread since then.
But yeah, so this time I'm going to try to be in it for the long haul, but if I disappear, y'all know what happened.
Y'all, if he disappears, no, y'all, you will definitely know what happens because it's not going to be a willing disappearance.
So just think about that. If you're starting a business, you might not have success, in the first month, the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Most businesses don't turn a profit for the first 2 years. And with that being said, look forward to an upcoming video I have on how to make some money. I'm going to put out. Me and Patrice talked about it. And yeah, just keep that in mind. Most businesses up to 2 years, they don't turn a profit. And there's a lot of investment that goes along with it. Mm-hmm. So do something that you love so it's not really like you're working. And you don't want to be that person out there hustling, trying to pay your bills and hoping this works and it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Because all that's going to do is put you in a bad mental state of mind. Mm-hmm. So finally, before we finish our podcast, Patrice told me to say why and who, and
your notes suck. So what should you start a business? you need to know why you want to start this business. Okay, so I see a lot of people, they see that somebody else is being successful in something, so now they want to switch and they want to do that. So you get a lot of people, they'll see somebody who's successful in something, and so now they want to try that. And then it doesn't work for them, and then they see somebody else being successful and they want to try that. Well, why are you really starting a business if it's not something that you really want to do? If you're just basing it off of somebody else's experience or what you see them doing, then you may want to take a step back and actually analyze, why is it that you're doing this? Do you love what you're doing? Not saying that if you see somebody doing something, you shouldn't do it. If it's something that's in you to do it, definitely do it. So Terrell, he sees me doing YouTube, right? And so Terrell would be like, oh, I'm just going to copy you. I'm going to copy everything you do. And I would tell, what do I tell? Do it. Copy me. Like, do everything. Do it, please. Right? But it's not that Terrell saw me doing YouTube and he saw it. Terrell actually likes this type of stuff. Like, even before me. So I would go to him and I would ask him when I was first starting out, okay, so how does this look? What should I do? Should I do this? And he would give me a lot of direction as far as sound and video and things like that. So this is something that he actually does like to do. And maybe he needed to see a friend or somebody doing it and really take it serious. But you can't ever tell with him if he's taking anything serious or not. So I don't know if he's really taking it serious, but it's something that he wants to do. Now, if you have somebody and you see that they're doing something and you're like, you know what? They're making some money doing this. I want to do that. But you have to know why it is that you are going to do it. That may be your why, but why are you going to start that specific business? Who are you going to encounter? Who will you provide the services to? Who's going to be your clientele, no matter what it is that you are doing? It's like putting an upscale gym in the hood, right? You see everybody doing it, but you're going to put an upscale gym in the hood and you're charging $200 a membership per month. Who can afford that if you have it smack dead in the middle of the hood? So you have to kind of weigh that. Who is it that you are going to cater to? Who's your clientele? So those are things that, should you start a business, before you even get to the part of actually starting the business, these are all of the things that you need to consider prior to you, investing in actually starting the business.
I agree.
He wasn't listening, y'all.
I was listening. So, guys, our next podcast, what is it going to be on?
How to start.
How to. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of starting a business. I might have a new YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe if there's a link in the description. Check it. I usually don't put links in there anyways, even though I do.
You're supposed to be putting links in there.
And go ahead, do me a solid and subscribe. We got about 366 subscribers. We're trying to hit this 500.
So we can get our community bar open, our community tab open.
And listen up, you got any friends who is thinking about starting a business, go ahead, just share this out to them and be like, hey, follow these losers.
Yeah. Pretty much.
All right, so thank you for your time, guys. It's been real. Peace.
Later.